Have you ever wondered why some people rise above challenges while others stay trapped in the same cycle? Why some break free from pain, poverty, or fear while others surrender to it for a lifetime? The truth is, the difference is not in luck, not in chances, and not in circumstances. The difference is in the mind. Every single thought you allow into your head becomes the architect of your future. Your mind is not just a tool, it is the commander of your entire life. If you lose control of it, you lose control of everything. But if you learn to master it, you unlock a strength greater than anything outside of you. And here is the promise. If you stay with me until the very end of this message, you will not only understand this truth, you will feel it and you will carry it with you as a weapon to face the world. That is your reward for staying. A shift so powerful, it can set the direction of your life. Think about this. How many times have you felt like your life should change, but somehow it never does? You try new habits, you set new goals, you make big promises to yourself, but weeks later, you fall back into the same old routine. Why does this happen? It happens because the surface changes nothing until the mind changes everything. You cannot expect a new life if your old way of thinking still controls you. Psychologists have proven that almost 90% of our daily actions come from automatic patterns, unconscious decisions, and repeated thoughts. This means that if your thoughts are negative, your life will be negative. If your mind is scattered, your life will be scattered. If your inner voice tells you you can't do it, then every attempt you make will prove that voice wrong. But if you shift that voice, if you command your thoughts, if you guide your focus, then the same world that felt heavy yesterday becomes a place full of opportunity today. Your mind is like a wild horse. Left untamed, it runs into fear, doubt, and distraction. But when you learn to hold the reins, when you discipline it, you ride that same horse straight into victory. Imagine how powerful you could become if every time a negative thought tried to pull you down, you redirected it towards strength. Imagine the life you could create if every moment of fear became fuel and every doubt became determination. But here is the challenge. Your mind doesn't want to be controlled. It wants comfort, it wants easy pleasure, it wants to stay safe, and that is why most people fail. Because they are slaves to their own thoughts. They let emotions dictate decisions. They let fear stop progress. They let doubt kill dreams before those dreams even begin. And here lies the secret. If you want to change your life, you must break this cycle. You must stop being a prisoner to your thoughts and start being the master of them. Ask yourself honestly, are you controlling your mind or is your mind controlling you? If you are ruled by fear, then your life will be small. If you are ruled by doubt, then your life will be stuck. But if you learn to direct your focus, if you learn to choose your thoughts with purpose, then nothing outside of you can defeat you. This is not about ignoring reality. This is about shaping reality with the power of your inner world. Because everything you see around you, the buildings, the inventions, the art, the technology, once existed only as a thought in someone's mind. They controlled that thought, they nurtured it, they focused on it, and they turned it into reality. Your life is no different. What you believe inside, you will create outside. So here is the hook. If you truly want to change your life, if you are tired of waiting, tired of repeating, tired of feeling powerless, then you must take the first step right now. And that step is not in the gym, not in the job, not in the bank. That first step is in your mind. Control it and you control everything. Stay until the end because what you are about to hear is not just words, it is a mirror. A mirror that will show you the truth you have been ignoring. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. You will know with absolute certainty that the life you dream of is not out there somewhere. It is waiting inside your own mind, waiting for you to take control. Change is not something that suddenly appears in your life. It does not come from waiting, wishing, or hoping. Change is not a gift from the outside. It is a choice from the inside. So many people waste years waiting for the right chance, the right relationship, the right break, or the right time. But life does not bend to waiting. Life bends to the strength of a mind that has already decided. Think about this carefully. Your surroundings are only a reflection of your inner world. If your thoughts are scattered, your actions will be weak. If your beliefs are limited, your possibilities will shrink. But when your mind expands, your life expands. When your inner world grows stronger, the outer world begins to follow. That is the truth most people ignore. They keep fighting outside battles while losing the war inside their own head. Now, psychology tells us that our thoughts shape our emotions and our emotions drive our actions. If the thought is negative, the emotion will be heavy and the action will be weak. But if the thought is empowering, the emotion will be strong and the action will be unstoppable. This is why real change does not begin with what you do. It begins with how you think. You cannot build a new future with the same mindset that built your past. If you want freedom, you cannot think like a prisoner. If you want success, you cannot think like a victim. If you want strength, you cannot keep feeding weakness. Every change you want to see in your life must be planted first in your mind. So ask yourself, what thoughts are you allowing to rule you today? Because those thoughts are writing the story of your tomorrow. The truth about life change is simple. Nothing outside of you can transform until you take command inside of you. The world will not hand you a new life. You must create it. And creation begins the moment you choose to control your mind. The mind is the most powerful force you will ever carry within you. It can lift you to heights beyond your imagination, or it can trap you in a life you never wanted. What you allow to live in your mind will live in your real reality. That is not philosophy. It is psychology, it is science, it is truth. Every belief you hold creates a filter through which you see the world. If your mind believes you are weak, then every situation will look impossible. If your mind believes you are capable, then even the hardest path becomes an opportunity. The mind does not just process life, it shapes it. Most people never understand this. They think the world is against them, when in reality, their own thoughts are holding them down. They fight enemies outside, but the real enemy is inside. The war is not against the economy, the people, or the past. The war is against the endless voices of doubt, fear, and excuses that live in the mind. But here is the beauty. Just as the mind can destroy, it can also create. Just as it can paralyze, it can empower. If you direct your mind towards strength, it will give you strength. If you train it to focus on solutions, it will find them. The same force that once held you back can become the force that carries you forward. Imagine a life where you no longer react to every thought, but instead choose your thoughts with purpose. Imagine the clarity, the peace, and the power you would feel. That is what mastery of the mind looks like. Control the mind, and you control your life. Lose the mind, and you lose everything. This is the power you are born with. It has always been inside you, waiting to be awakened. And once you see it, once you truly grasp it, you will realize that the only chains that ever existed were the ones in your head. If the mind holds such great power, then why do so many people stay stuck? Why do they dream of change but never taste it? The answer is simple, yet uncomfortable. Most people are not in control of their own thoughts. They let fear speak louder than courage, and they let doubt whisper louder than belief. Human psychology shows us that the brain loves comfort. It resists anything unfamiliar. That is why people stay trapped in old habits, even when those habits are destroying them. The mind says, stay where you are, it's safer, and they listen. Fear becomes the ruler, and freedom becomes the prisoner. Think of how often you have wanted to try something new, but your mind flooded you with excuses. What if I fail? What if they laugh at me? What if I'm not good enough? These are not truths, they are tricks. They are mental walls built to keep you in the same place. The tragedy is that most people accept these walls as permanent without ever testing their strength. The struggle comes from living life as a reaction instead of a decision. When emotions take control, the mind follows. Anger decides, fear decides, doubt decides, and the person becomes a passenger instead of the driver. But the truth, emotions are temporary. They rise and fall. If you build your life on them, your path will always be unstable. This is why so many start strong and then quit. They set goals, but when the first wave of difficulty comes, the old programming of the mind pulls them back. It is not that they are weak, it is that they never trained their mind to lead. The real reason most people struggle is not the weight of the world, but the weight of their own uncontrolled thoughts. And until they see this, until they recognize that the battle is not outside but within, they will keep losing the same fight again and again. Most people spend their entire lives trying to control everything around them. Money, relationships, circumstances, even the opinions of others. They think if they can fix the outside, then peace will come inside. But this is an illusion. No matter how hard you try, you cannot control the world. You cannot control what others say, what others do, or how life unfolds. And the harder you try, the more frustrated you become, because life will never bend perfectly to your will. This illusion of control is the reason so many feel exhausted and empty. They chase stability outside while ignoring the chaos within. They change jobs, cities or people, yet nothing feels different because their mind has remained the same. If the mind is restless, even success will not satisfy. If the mind is full of fear, even safety will not bring peace. True control is not out there, it is in here. The only kingdom you can truly rule is your own mind. When you understand this, you stop wasting energy on things you cannot command, and you begin to focus on what you can. You learn that real power is not changing the storm, but calming yourself within it. Psychology teaches us that the brain often creates false security by trying to manage the uncontrollable. It clings to routines, people, and environments in the hope of feeling safe. But lasting strength does not come from controlling the outside world. It comes from mastering the inner one. Because once the mind is steady, the world outside loses its power to shake you. The illusion of control keeps people trapped in a cycle of disappointment. They fight battles that can never be won, while ignoring the one battle that can change everything. And the moment you let go of the need to control what is outside, and instead turn inward to master your thoughts, you discover a freedom that cannot be taken away. That is where real control begins. The moment you understand that control begins within, something powerful happens. You shift the way you see life. Instead of chasing the outside world, you start shaping the inner one. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You begin asking, how can I respond to this with strength? This change of perspective is the foundation of transformation. When you realize that your mind is the true source of peace, power, and progress, you stop fighting battles that never end. You stop blaming people, situations, or luck, because you know that everything begins and ends with your mindset. And this shift is liberating. Suddenly, you no longer feel like a victim of life. You feel like the creator of it. Think about it. Two people can face the exact same storm. One sees only destruction, while the other sees a chance to rebuild stronger. The storm did not decide their future, their perspective did. This is how the mind shapes reality. What you focus on grows. If you focus on fear, if you focus on opportunity, opportunity expands. Opportunity expands. Psychology confirms this truth. The brain works like a spotlight. Wherever you shine that light, the mind collects evidence to support it. If you believe life is against you, your brain will find proof. If you believe life is opening doors, your brain will also find proof. The difference is not in the world, it is in the way you look at it. This is why the shift of perspective is so powerful. It turns obstacles into lessons, pain into strength, and setbacks into setups for growth. The outside world may remain the same, but your inner response changes everything. And once you learn to shift perspective, you no longer waste energy resisting life. You use that energy to grow, to rise, and to move forward with clarity. The true secret of freedom is not in escaping difficulty, but in seeing it through the eyes of strength. That is the perspective that unlocks change. Once your perspective begins to shift, you start to notice something important. The greatest battles are not against the outside world, but against the inner enemy. This enemy is not a stranger, not a rival, not a force outside of you. It is the voice inside your head that whispers doubt, feeds fear, and convinces you to stay small. Every time you tell yourself, I can't do this, that is the inner enemy speaking. Every time you delay your dreams because of fear of failure, that is the inner enemy holding you back. And the truth is, this enemy knows you better than anyone else. It knows your weaknesses, it knows your insecurities, and it uses them against you. But here's the truth you must understand. The inner enemy only has power if you believe. Those thoughts of fear and doubt are not facts. They are shadows. They only grow stronger when you feed them with attention. Psychology proves that the more you repeat a thought, the more your brain wires it as truth. This is why self-doubt feels so real, because you've rehearsed it too many times. The good news is, the same mind that built the inner enemy can also defeat it. By choosing new thoughts, by training yourself to focus on strength instead of fear, you weaken the enemy's grip. Every time you replace I can't with I will, you take back ground. Every time you push forward despite the fear, you break the chains a little more. The inner enemy is not there to destroy you, it is there to test you. It is the fire that can either burn you or forge you. If you run from it, it controls you. But if you face it, it becomes the reason you grow stronger. The greatest victory in life is not over others, it is over yourself. And when you win that battle, no outside force can defeat you. The inner enemy builds walls that you cannot see but can always feel. These walls are made of fear, doubt, and limitation. They convince you that you are stuck, that you are not ready, that you are not good enough. And because you believe them, you stay trapped in a prison without bars, a prison created by your own mind. This mental prison is powerful because it is invisible. You wake up, go to work, chase routines, and live as if everything is normal. Yet deep inside, you know you are not free. You dream of a different life, but the walls whisper, stay where you are, it's safer here. That is how the prison keeps you locked in, by making comfort feel like safety and growth feel like danger. But here is the truth, those walls are not real. They are illusions built by repetition. Every time you told yourself you couldn't, the wall grew taller. Every time you avoided risk, the wall grows stronger. And yet the moment you step forward despite the fear, cracks begin to appear. The prison loses its power the second you stop believing in it. Psychology teaches us that awareness is the first step to freedom. When you become aware of your thoughts, when you notice the patterns that limit you, you take back control. You realize that the voice of doubt is not you, it is only a habit of thinking. And habits can be changed. Breaking free does not mean eliminating fear forever. It means acting even when fear is present. It means refusing to let the inner enemy dictate your future. Every brave step you take weakens the prison. Every act of courage builds a new identity, one that is no longer chained by old beliefs. The greatest freedom is not found outside. It is found in the moment you decide that your mind will no longer be your jailer, but your liberator. That is when life truly begins. Freedom begins with awareness, but it is discipline that makes it last. The mind, left untrained, always returns to its old patterns. It seeks comfort, it searches for distraction, it runs back to fear. That is why true strength is not built in a single moment of courage. It is built through daily discipline. Think of the mind like a muscle. If you do not train it, it becomes weak. If you do not guide it, it drifts into negativity. But if you practice focus, if you repeat positive direction, the mind grows stronger, sharper, and more stable. Psychology proves this. Repetition rewires the brain. Every thought you repeat is like a seed, and with time it becomes a habit. That habit shapes identity, and identity shapes destiny. Most people lose the battle because they expect change to come from inspiration alone. They feel motivated for a moment, but without discipline, the fire fades. Discipline is what keeps the flame alive. It is choosing to control your focus even when you feel tired. It is choosing empowering thoughts even when fear screams louder. It is refusing to surrender to the old patterns that once held you prisoner. Imagine the power of a mind that is trained daily. A mind that does not run from discomfort, but embraces it as growth. A mind that does not collapse under pressure, but sharpens because of it. That kind of mind cannot be broken, because it has been forged through discipline. The discipline of the mind does not happen overnight. It is built one choice at a time. Each time you redirect a negative thought, each time you silence doubt and replace it with strength, you are training your inner world. Slowly, the weak voice of fear grows quiet and the strong voice of courage becomes natural. That is how transformation becomes permanent, not through one big decision, but through thousands of small disciplined choices. And when discipline takes root, the mind no longer controls you. You control it. A disciplined mind is powerful, but its true strength is discovered in silence and focus. In a world filled with noise, distractions, and endless demands, most people have forgotten what it means to be still. They run from one thought to another, one worry to the next, until their mind feels like a storm with no calm. But silence is where the storm begins to settle, and focus is where clarity is born. When you train yourself to sit in silence, you are not escaping life. You are reclaiming it. You are teaching your mind to obey, to slow down, to listen. Psychology shows us that the brain processes thousands of thoughts each day, most of them repetitive and useless. Without silence, these thoughts control you. With silence, you begin to control them. Focus is the next step. The human mind cannot give its full power to many things at once. Scattered attention creates scattered results. But when you direct your focus to one goal, one purpose, your energy becomes unstoppable. Focus turns effort into progress, and progress into transformation. Silence and focus together create balance. Silence clears away the noise, and focus gives direction to your energy. This is why some of the strongest people in history practiced stillness, not because they were weak, but because they understood that true power is not in chaos, but in control. Imagine the strength of a mind that is calm in silence and sharp in focus. It cannot be distracted by fear. It cannot be shaken by doubt. It knows where it is going, and it walks there with clarity. That is the kind of mind that builds unshakable lives. When you choose silence, you discover yourself. Shosumak. When you choose focus, you create your future. Together, they turn the disciplined mind into a weapon, calm, precise, and unstoppable. When silence and focus begin to guide the mind, transformation becomes possible. But here is a truth many overlook. Real change does not arrive in sudden dramatic moments. It begins small. It begins with one thought replaced, one decision redirected, one habit reshaped. The mind grows stronger not through giant leaps, but through steady steps repeated daily. Most people fail because they chase overnight change. They want instant results, instant success, instant freedom. But psychology teaches us that the brain resists massive change when it feels overwhelming. That is why promises made in excitement often fade in days. The mind must be trained gradually, patiently, consistently. Think of transformation like a seed. At first, it looks small, almost invisible. But if you water it daily, protect it, and allow it time, it grows into something unshakable. Your thoughts work the same way. A single positive thought planted every morning, a single act of discipline repeated each day, begins to rewire your brain. Slowly, the old identity fades and a new one takes root. Do not underestimate the small victories. Choosing courage over fear once is powerful. Replacing doubt with belief once is progress. Each small choice builds momentum, and momentum creates change that lasts. Transformation is not about doing everything at once. It is about doing one thing differently today, then repeating it tomorrow and the next day until it becomes who you are. The most unstoppable people in life are not those who took one giant leap, but those who built strength step by step. They mastered the small moments, and those moments shaped their destiny. Remember this, you do not have to be perfect to transform. You only have to begin. Every small act of discipline, every shift in thought, every decision to rise instead of retreat is proof that transformation has already started. And once it begins, nothing can stop it from growing. When small steps of transformation begin to take root, something extraordinary happens. You become unshakable. Life will still bring storms, but they no longer control you. Challenges will come, but they no longer define you. You begin to live with a power that does not depend on circumstances because it flows from the mind you have trained. An unstoppable life is not one without problems. It is a life where problems cannot break you. It is a life where fear may whisper, but it no longer rules. Where doubt may appear, but it no longer decides. The disciplined, focused, and steady mind transforms every obstacle into a stepping stone. What once held you back now becomes fuel for your growth. Psychology tells us that identity is built from repeated actions. The more you act with strength, the more you see yourself as strong. The more you face challenges with courage, the more courage becomes natural. This is how an unstoppable life is formed, not from waiting for perfect conditions, but from building a mind that stands firm in any condition. Imagine walking into each day with clarity. Imagine knowing that no matter what happens, your peace cannot be stolen, your focus cannot be broken, and your direction cannot be lost. That is the reality of someone who has mastered their mind. They do not fear the future because they trust their strength to handle it. This is the life that belongs to you when you choose control over chaos. It is not given by chance, not gifted by luck. It is built step by step through the choices you make with your thoughts, and once it is built, nothing outside can take it away. That is what it means to live an unstoppable life. When the mind is mastered, life itself is mastered. The storms may come, but they cannot move you. The doubts may arise, but they cannot rule you. You have built strength where it matters most. And from that place of control, everything outside begins to change. The truth is simple. The greatest victory you will ever win is the victory over yourself. No wealth, no status, no achievement can compare to the freedom of knowing that your mind is no longer your enemy. but your greatest ally. That freedom is the beginning of all success, all peace, and all power. Every step you take from this moment is proof that change is possible. Every thought you choose with intention is a brick in the foundation of your new life. You are no longer the prisoner of fear, you are the master of focus. You are no longer the victim of doubt, you are the builder of strength. Remember this, nothing outside of you can decide who you become. Only your mind holds that power. And now you hold the mind, you are in control. So stand firm, walk with clarity, love with discipline. Let silence guide your strength, and let focus direct your path. This is the life you are meant to live. Calm, strong, unshaken, unstoppable. Control the mind and you change your life forever.